You better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he goes mean. He gets caught real big, pissed off quick, and if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored. Lots of blood and gold, always wanting more, freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel it worth their blood in. If you start shit, you'll be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped, you'll be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday episode of The Voice of Reason. And holy shit, do we have a lot to talk about. The last, I think, 10 minutes of last night's stream, we found out that Trump had bombed Iran. He announced it via a damn social media post, which I could show you because this is truly dystopian and insane. Okay, first, before we start, because we have a lot of information, Mike did a really good job of digging some stuff up, because this is not a new thing. This Iran nuclear boogeyman is not a new thing. Okay, this is something that Netanyahu and Israel have been perpetuating since the 1990s. And they've always been days, weeks, months, or years.
Who does that sound like? 2 weeks away.
Right. And Donald Trump, being the moron that he is, the dementia-ridden psychopath, fell for the weapons of mass destruction bit, which I like to remind everybody was Israel's fault the first time we went to Iraq, because they're the ones that told us Iraq had weapons of mass destruction.
And Afghanistan, and this country, and that country.
They didn't even have to run a new play. They just
Do you think they just showed him clips from the 90s, and they were like, and he was like, oh my God. He didn't know.
It's truly insane. Well, here's the post after, this is how we found out. We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Shafat. I can't say that. All planes are need to get, you guys know, I promise. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs in capital letters was dropped. Like, what else would you drop? Leaflets? Dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Does this guy really think that you just bombed a country that literally was unprovoked up until now?
So you want to know what that reminds me of?
I mean, seriously.
Come on, everyone.
So peace through strength. Donald Trump seriously thinks that he's going to bomb it and just walk away. And they're trying to literally nuance this entire attack now. Now they got JD Vance on a propaganda tour, because I'm pretty sure they're already positioning JD Vance to take over for Donald Trump at this point, because Donald Trump's going to get blamed for doing this.
Look, we've been saying this for a while. Trump and everything he does is the puppet facade for the Christian nationalists to take over this country. If you aren't afraid of people like Mike Johnson and JD Vance and the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025, which that's it. It's confirmed. That's what the big, beautiful bill is. Go actually read the thing. If you're not afraid of them more than Trump, you're missing the point. Trump is the stooge. Okay. There are bad actors that have been trying to get the U.S. to get into a war of this scale for decades, half a century at this point. And they finally did it. And guess what? There's no easy way out now, because once we attacked, we became viable targets. That's why you don't attack people. That's why you don't do it, because then they attack back and you go, but we had a bomb, and why weren't they scared of our bombs?
Yep. And Donald Trump doesn't realize it yet, but this is going to be the catalyst that reshapes the entire Middle East. This will be the unifying factor for all the Islamic countries in that region, because they all have one thing in common, that they all hate Israel. You know what I mean? And they hate us. Right. And for just this reason alone.
And don't forget, when people go, oh, we're not going to have a world war, let me explain some very basic geopolitics to everyone out there. Right now, in this moment, North Korea, China, Russia, Iran,
Pakistan.
they are all on one side. A lot of them have nuclear weapons. The other side is the United States and NATO. And guess what? We have nukes too, but here's the problem. Yeah. Both of those sides have mutual aggression pacts, mutual defense pacts. So now NATO, basically, if Iran attacks U.S. bases or soil, NATO has to respond legally by international law. Do you see how this works? Do you see why all you need is one stupid, full of themselves moron that doesn't understand the weight of history and the fragility of lives in the balance to do this? And they got it in Donald Trump.
They have not wanted to attack NATO prior to this event because, I mean, what if they don't step up and help us? They are quite literally our only go-to at the moment, other than Israel, and they can't help us. They're not going to help us. They never intended on helping us. If Israel's not our ally. Israel and the people running Israel are not our ally. Netanyahu is not our ally. He had Donald Trump convinced that this Butler shit was somehow an assassination attempt by Iran, even though it was some young white kid who was a Trump supporter.
And we have no proof that there actually was an assassination attempt because Donald Trump doesn't have, any marks on his ear.
None. Not a scar, not a scratch. He wore a maxi pad.
But you know what? We got to watch out because something people don't understand is bone spurs are very hereditary. And I wouldn't be surprised if Barron Trump comes back with a diagnosis of bone spurs right before the Trump draft starts. Because guess what? Our military is not big enough, and we do not have enough to put on a worldwide war that we are we're saying World War III has started. The problem is you don't know when a world war has started until a few years into it when you realize it engulfed so much. We have the benefit of history and seeing how the previous two world wars started. Yeah. So we kind of know now how it works. Third time's the charm.
We just don't learn our lesson, do we? But this is the third Republican president in a row to get us in a war in the Middle East. Okay, 2 times for weapons of mass destruction.
That didn't exist.
Right. But let me play this video because there may be a very specific reason why Donald Trump is now participating in the war against Iran.
More P-tapes?
No. It all comes down, like I said, all comes down to money. There's a guy on TikTok that I follow who broke it down. Which makes sense. Remember how Donald Trump wanted Greenland because he said we needed it for strategic purposes and to protect the sovereignty of the United States. It was about resources, oil, rare earth metals, all that. Well, guess what they just found a few months ago in Iran? I'll let this gentleman from TikTok break it down for us.
Here's a theory that's going to blow your mind. Sound effect. Did Israel attack Iran because of what they just discovered buried under their mountains? We're talking about the most advanced mineral discoveries on the planet right now. In March 2025, just months before Israel's attack, Iran announced they discovered massive antimony reserves after 10 years of looking for them, 10 years of exploration. Mining, discovery attempts take ages, right? Drilling, sampling, etc. But that's just the beginning. In April 2025, Iran then opened its first monazite production plant, marking a breakthrough in rare earth element processing. Sorry, I stumbled there because monazite is very unfamiliar to my tongue. They're now producing 17 different rare earth elements, refining with best-in-class purity in some of those fields. These aren't just shiny rocks. Antimony is critical for flame retardants, something used in rockets and jet exhaust systems and for putting out or preventing fires in aircraft and ships, for example, military applications and advanced technology. I'm not going to... China controls nearly half the global supply and prices are skyrocketing for these minerals. Iran just became a major player, essentially, overnight.
Okay. So we were cut off. This was months ago. China was like, okay, we're just not going to send you any more rare earth metals, which we need. Military equipment, electronics. Donald Trump wants to manufacture electronics and bring manufacturing back to the United States. Well, here's his plan. He's just going to colonize another country. Also seems to be what...
Didn't we just find out that they have drawn up plans to attack Greenland? Also, I just saw something before the show. I was just, doom scrolling. And I forget what country it is because I have absolutely no fundamental knowledge of the African continent. But one African country just announced that it found like an absurd gold reserve. So I assume within a month or two, we'll be bringing freedom to them too, and democracy.
Probably. But before we get ahead of ourselves and go over some of the stuff that Mike has set up, let's go ahead and recap. Let's just go back in time a few years and realize why we are in this mess to begin with. Okay, so Obama, what they said was a historical deal, set up the nuclear accord with Iran and put them under some pretty strict guidelines, and they were abiding by those guidelines. Well, then Donald Trump comes along in his first term and decides to do this. This is the first step of why we're here now. Donald Trump's first term. Okay, here you go.
I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. In a few moments, I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime. We will be instituting the highest level of economic sanction. Any nation that helps Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons could also be strongly sanctioned by the United States. America will not be held hostage to nuclear blackmail.
So Donald Trump's been under this misconception that Iran has been trying to have nukes this entire time, even though Mike can prove that otherwise pretty simply.
I see what happened. See, I consider myself, while not professionally a historian, I'm interested in history. See, now that's an important detail there, because if we look at now, between now and his first term when he did that, what we see now is a golden American economy where tariffs are saving all of our lives. So why didn't he just institute tariffs then? And then Iran wouldn't have nuclear weapons now that we can't find. Fascinating.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. The funny part about this, we talked about this before the show, is Iran was like, yeah, you guys kept telling us you were going to attack us, so we just moved all our shit.
So it's funny you say that, because one of the things I did is I wanted to show the history of how we've been trying to be duped into this for a long time and how we finally did. And one of the things that we got from it is the chest-beating regime we have now that likes to make proclamations before they have confirmation. So very recently, it was either last night or this morning, Pete Hegseth said, we did it. We blew up all of their nuclear sites, which we don't know that they were nuclear sites. But and then now it is being reported by the New York Times, citing U.S. official, the strike did not destroy the heavily fortified Fordow facility, but it caused extensive damage. How about this? Maybe the country that uses Signal to discuss its intelligence doesn't have the best intelligence anymore because no one likes us, respects us, trusts us, or has any ability to pretend that we aren't a giant fucking clown show. Yeah, because the reason we are not going to succeed the way we think we are, and by that I mean Trump, is because we don't know anything anymore, because we are not part of the international community other than to wave our giant around. That's it. There's no part of us that is integrated into the international community anymore.
No, I totally agree. And that's why they don't want to share information with us, because of the people that Donald Trump has.
Brina, you're always right.
Yeah. Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, why would anybody share information with us?
Jeanette,
Jeanette, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Just send more soldiers to Greenland. Oh God, please. What?
Wait, they just sent more soldiers to Greenland? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Denmark is just sent some exercises. Oh my God.
All righty. Okay, so do you want to go over your overlays, or do you want me to? Okay,
yeah, I'll do it.
He's got a bunch.
All right.
And then I want to get into some of the videos from yesterday and this morning.
So, like I said, I wanted to go back a little bit into some things. And what I did is I started a little timeline, starting with Ronald Reagan, something that a lot of people have heard whispers of. They don't really remember it, or they don't know what it was, is the Iran-Contra affair. So Even time, I mean, this was an amazingly huge deal at the time. I do not remember living through it. I was there, but I don't remember it. But I have researched it, and it's absurd. Essentially, the United States was selling weapons, like we always do, but this time it was like caught, and it was illegal. So the Iran-Contra affair, also referred to as the Iran-Contra scandal, the Iran Initiative, or simply Iran-Contra, was a political scandal in the U.S. that centered on arms trafficking to Iran between 81 and 86, facilitated by senior officials of the Reagan administration. As Iran was subject to an arms embargo at the time of the scandal, the sale of arms was deemed illegal. Right? You could follow that? Great. The administration hoped to use the proceeds of the arms sale to fund the Contras, an anti-Sandinista rebel group in Nicaragua, under the Boland Agreement passed by Congress, whatever. The Contras, further funding of the Contras by legislative appropriations was prohibited by Congress because the president doesn't have the ability to fund other groups. But the Reagan administration continued funding them secretively using non-appropriated funds. The administration's justification for the arms shipment was that they were part of an attempt to free 7 U.S. hostages, blah, frickin' blah. So, if you're following so far, Congress said, no, President, you can't do that. So the president sent his little buddies to go sell weapons illegally to another country, to then take that money and use illegally to fund a guerrilla warfare group to overthrow another country. It's almost like all the U.S. has ever done in history is involve itself in other countries while neglecting itself at home. But, here we go. On to the Bush administration. Bush tries to convince world no plans for Iran war. This was August 9th, 2007. President George W. Bush is trying to convince the world he has no intention of invading Iran, but it's running into skeptics who see U.S. charges that Iran is shipping bombs into Iraq as a step towards conflict. So again, we like to pretend, and by say we, I mean our presidents, that we have things happening that we just got to get involved in, but we could never seem to provide the proof. President George W. Bush is trying to convince the world he has no intention of invading Iran, but is running into skeptics, having ordered, 2 aircraft carriers to the Gulf and accused Iranians of providing Iraqi militants bombs that have killed 170 Americans. Bush and his top aides are struggling to tamp down talk that a new war is brewing. Bush himself prompted the talk in January's speech, outlining his reworked Iraq strategy by saying, quote, Iran is providing material support for attacks on American troops. So in other words, a president was lying to get America involved in a contract where really the only purpose of that was for rich people who own defense contracting companies, make them money, make them richer, secure oil rights, back whatever group we feel is going to help us at the time. So remember, we were selling weapons to Iran. Now Iran's our big enemy. I mean, come on.
All of a sudden.
All right. Now we get a little sanity. And gee, I wonder which president that was. We had a frickin' deal, okay? Jeremy went over this. I'm going to go into it. Iran-United States relations during the Obama administration were defined by a shift from confrontation to cautious engagement, culminating in the landmark nuclear agreement of 2015. It's called statecraft, people. Sometimes presidents have to do things other than wave their junk around. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal, was an agreement reached in 2015 between Iran and several world powers, including China, France, Germany, Russia, the UK, and the US, alongside the European Union. The deal aimed to restrict Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the lifting of international sanctions. See how this all keeps coming back?
Right.
Here are some details that, by the way, show you that the later actions of Donald Trump have nothing to do with American safety, nothing to do with preventing Iran from getting weapons. It has everything to do with Israel just wanting to attack other countries.
Yep.
Restrictions on Iran's nuclear program. The JCPOA placed significant limitations on Iran's nuclear activities, including the number and type of centrifuges for uranium enrichment, the amount of enriched uranium Iran could possess, and the construction of heavy water reactors. Also, keep in mind that none of this has to do with bombs. This is all nuclear technology. but for energy. But we like to
Right.
pretend the same uranium can be used for bombs as it can for nuclear energy.
Very
That's
different process.
It's almost like energy independence is another reason we keep trying to control the Middle East.
Right. Even though Donald Trump wants to boost nuclear production in the United States significantly.
Here are some details. Now, keep in mind, this was during the Obama years, so we'd still be close to under these still same agreements. For 13 years, Iran agreed to eliminate its stockpile of medium enriched uranium, cut its stockpile of low enriched uranium by 98%, and reduced by about 2/3 the number of its gas centrifuges. For 15 years, Iran agreed to enrich uranium only up to 3.67% and not to build heavy water facilities. For 10 years, uranium enrichment will be limited to a single facility using first-generation centrifuges, which means older ones. Other facilities would be converted to avoid proliferation risks. IAEA would have regular access to all Iranian nuclear facilities to monitor compliance. Now, that's important because that meant we had an agreement to go in there freely and make sure they did not have weapons, did not have nuclear weapons. Now, keep that in mind because it almost seems like recently someone's head of national intelligence said that Iran didn't have weapons. We'll get to that.
Right. She changed her mind really quick all of a sudden.
Now, in 2018, the United States under the Trump administration withdrew from the Iran agreement, citing concerns that the deal did not adequately address Iran's nuclear ambition and its support for regional proxies. What the hell else could it have done? It said they can't do shit. Following the withdrawal, the U.S. reimposed sanctions on Iran that had been lifted under the agreement. Iran responded by gradually reducing its compliance with the deal restrictions and increasing its uranium enrichment. So with no deal, they went, well, sanctions don't mean anything because you don't sell us shit anyway. We don't buy shit to you anyway. We're going to get all of our shit from the countries that give it to us anyway. So they got rid of the deal so Russia couldn't give them any materials they need. Then Trump got rid of the deal so that they could just go back to Russia and get whatever they needed.
Yeah, we had safeguards in place, and then he messed it up.
Now, why do you think Trump did it? I think this cartoon pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that's it.
That has to do with Obama makes Donald Trump feel inadequate and a little tiny bitty guy.
Same thing with Biden. He did undoing things that Biden put into place on day one. That's about the only thing he did on day one is just undo shit Biden put into place.
So now where are we for the last week? I realized as I was putting together some of these slides, things were rapidly changing. We started off the week with 2 week Taco Donald saying, we'll have an idea in what I'm going to do in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because you would think he was then going to research the intelligence his team was gathering for him and assess the whole situation. Well, let's see what happens. The elephant in the room. Analysts single out alarming detail as Trump mulls war. This was from a week ago. Okay. Appearing on MSNBC's The Weekend, longtime White House correspondent April Ryan noted that there is an elephant in the room that should concern everyone as the president kicks the can down the road for a reported 2 weeks as he mulls the U.S. response. He's just now starting since Thursday, she reported. We're seeing intelligence consider consistent briefings. And before that, how often was the president briefing getting briefed, right? He was just once a week. Was it bullet points? Was it a show and tell? What was it? Was it pictorial? I mean, because every day presidents used to get a book. Before this president, they used to get a book basically of what's going on around the world, she added. And now he's playing catch up. He's doing the quick notes. This is not that moment to do quick notes. Donald Trump's decision to insert himself into the growing conflict between Israel and Iran has set off alarms with one MSNBC analyst who stated on Saturday morning that the president is ill-informed on the region that could be plunged into a full-scale war. This is also off the heels of a disastrous Ted Cruz interview with Tucker Carlson, where Ted Cruz basically admitted he, and by therefore the government, knows nothing about Iran. They didn't know how many people were there. They don't even know where it is on the frickin' map.
Did you see the video recently of Ted Cruz in a room full of people telling him that if you don't stand with Israel, that we don't stand with you?
Yep.
Yeah, Israel's a problem, and they AIPAC. AIPAC. You want to talk about AIPAC? Let me show you just real quick at AIPAC.
Yeah,
speak.
do it.
This is from an AIPAC lobbyist. So this is someone from Israel in the United States, or however it works. I don't know how this shit works. Okay. So, but he gives money to politicians to basically do, good things for Israel. That's how it works, in the United States. It's pay to play. He posted this: Jewish lives matter more than anyone's. He posted this 2 days ago, and he quickly deleted it. But the internet is forever, and we have a copy of it. So this is a person who is currently in the United States, and this is what they're saying. This is Zionism, okay? This is not Judaism. Okay, we've been talking about this quite a bit on the show, and I'm going to continue to talk about it.
Just like Christian nationalism is
right.
a bastardized version of that religion. It's not hard to see. You could say, you could criticize Israel. If you look at its history and actually fairly look at it and process it, you can understand why Israel has been nothing but an aggressor for its initial and forever existence. That's what it was started as. Go look at the history. I have no problem with Jewish people. I have problem with the Israeli government shutting down airports and keeping its own citizens from escaping as Iran attacks it from a war that Israel provoked. Because that's what's happening right now. Netanyahu left and fled to Greece. Okay?
To go to his son's wedding.
Okay, to go to his son's wedding while this was happening, and now he's shutting down the airports and not letting Israelis flee the country that he fled because he got it into a war.
Also, apparently, the United States is abandoning Americans that are in Iran right now. So that's awesome. This is going to cause anti-Semitism in the United States, because I hate to tell you this, but the white supremacists are not very happy with Donald Trump's decision. Doing this specifically for Israel. I'm telling you right now, even the Proud Boys are like, we're out.
Yep.
I'm not kidding. Like, this is going to be the downfall of Donald Trump. He is in danger now because if his own militant part of his community turns on him,
he's got nothing.
Holy shit, he is.
And they're going to get pissed. Don't forget, the left has weapons. We just don't flash them around and use them in public. The right has a lot of weapons, and they've been using them in public. And let me tell you, don't piss off a stupid redneck, because they will feel very, very embarrassed. And when men who have had no actual training on how to handle their emotions and worship guns get embarrassed, they're going to lash out. And they're not going to lash out unless us, because guess what? It wasn't a trans person that started this war. It was Donald Trump.
I hate to tell you this, but some of these people walk around with a patch that says, I forget what it's 6 MWE.
Yeah, 6 million wasn't enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are they're wearing patches to honor the Holocaust when Hitler murdered 6 million Jews in 4 years. So I guarantee they're not happy about this whole Israel shit. The white militant supremacists in the United States are down with, like, that patch. That's what they represent. And I went over this yesterday. Like, these are Nazis. And until we call them what they are, we're never going to win this fight if we continue to beat around the bush like, oh, they're dictators and they're fat. No. And I'm not calling it. I'm not sorry. See, I think I need to make a distinction here. I'm not calling them Nazis because they're acting like Nazis. I'm calling them Nazis because that's what they want to be That's what they want to be. They want to be it. I went over yesterday on yesterday's episode. They're just throwing these dog whistles out in our face. The number 88 is all over the place. That is a Heil Hitler reference. Fucking Donald Trump is posting on True Social Pepe the Frog memes, okay, which is a white supremacist dog whistle. So stop bullshitting everybody and being like, he's a dictator. No, he straight up wants to be the next Hitler.
When you told me about the flagpoles, I almost lost it.
I fucking snapped yesterday, man. I lost it. Like, yesterday's episode was supposed to be about the fact that Donald Trump wasn't listening to any of his staff and taking all his orders from Benjamin Netanyahu. We got duped, dude. This whole time we've been focusing on Russia.
Let me get to that. I have
this whole time we've been focusing on Russia and how Russia owns Trump, and I don't think we ever considered how deep Israel's claws go. And you know what? Before we get any further, I'm going to play this video I found. This is why we have a problem, because we are dealing with people that actually want the end times, who believe that if we protect Israel at all costs, no questions asked, that we will be blessed. And they don't mean in this life, okay? Because none of this helps anything in this life. This is about death and destruction and getting into heaven. I'm not kidding. All right, so this video is a little bit long, but I'm going to play it so side by side of us so we can.
It should scare the shit out of you. Oh,
this is American politicians, okay?
I believe God's protection and hand on America is partly due to our support of Israel, God's chosen people in the promised land.
Sure. As a Christian, our job is to protect Israel. As long as the United States protects Israel, then God will bless this country. And that's the way I look at that vote. And, you know, sure, I think that the good Lord is looking at us. We are here. We have been so blessed, and we have been so abundantly blessed because we have always looked after Israel. The Jewish people are the chosen people by God.
Israel's
and
not
it's clearly
in the
written in
Bible.
the Bible. And
But the Christians of Kentucky understand that Israel is the biblical homeland of the Jewish people, and it is our heritage as Christians as well. And so it is extremely meaningful for the people of our country to hearken back to our Judeo-Christian heritage, and remember that those who bless Israel are blessed by God.
Every good thing we know, all the things we love about the Bible, they were given to us of the Jewish nation. Israel, their people, the Jews, are better than all of us.
My grandparents taught me the Jewish faith. The Jews are the chosen people by God. This is a godly decision on my part. Money has nothing to do with it.
Israel is our strongest ally.
The former sex worker here.
My God says those who bless Israel will be blessed, and I understand the covenant that Israelis have.
Their
with
focus,
God. And I
not her, she's an idiot, but the true believers, their focus is to bring about the end of the world so that true believers can go to heaven. That's their literal belief. That is Christian nationalism to its
covenant and
that is
how
American
he honors his people.
Christianity.
I know that God is a God of honor, and those who sow honor will reap it. I want to do good by my God and by the people that he has chosen.
As a young man in South Carolina, I was raised to understand that God blesses those who bless Israel, and that's my foreign policy. It's not that complicated.
What?
It's been working for about 2,000 years.
Has it been working?
2,000 years? 2,000 years?
It's been working?
Israel didn't exist 2,000 years ago.
God, I hate
Israel is a colonized nation of stolen land, essentially America. You know what I mean? I'm done with Israel, man. I'm sorry. I love all people, except for MAGA. You know, we all know that. But not the leaders of Israel are just truly evil. The Zionist shit. They truly believe that they can get away with anything because they are the chosen people.
Now,
how do we get on different sides?
I don't know. But to what you said earlier, MAGA is fracturing because what people don't understand is MAGA isn't made up of a singular base of morons.
Right.
It is, oh boy, I'm going to try and get through this with a straight face. A complex and oddly multi-tiered mix of many different demographics of stupid people.
Right.
No, really. I mean, you have people that are just conspiracy goofballs. Then you have the people that are the straight up racists. Then you have people that literally just are afraid of gay people. And they all coalesced because they were focused. What was done is their hatred was focused through one lens and pointed at Donald Trump. But they're not all the same. So right now, if we're backing Israel to the point of bringing the United States into a war on behalf of Israel, there is a major portion of MAGA, a major portion of Republican politicians that hate Jews more than they love Donald Trump or anything else. Right. Trust me.
America first to them means hating Jews.
So there are some that will be there. Are
what it means to them, man.
Some of that group will go, oh, well, Donald Trump says it's for America. We'll back that because they don't know anything. But then there's the other ones that are like,
all these GOP members are in a lot of, not just Trump, like all of these GOP reps are fucked, bro. They better watch their back. And it's not going to be because of the left. It's going to be because of their own people. And need I remind you that Hitler was almost assassinated like double digit. I can't even remember the exact number, but most of the attempts on Hitler's life were by his own people.
Yup.
because,
at some point, and this is, I don't know nearly as much about the history of Italian fascism as I do about German Nazism.
I don't know much about Italian fascism.
I've been looking into it a little more. Long story short, I'm simplifying it clearly, but the essence of what I'm about to say is proving Jeremy's point. Fascism in Italy ended because the Italian people lived under it for so long. They were like, no, we're done. And they basically said no, started fighting the fascists in their government, took Mussolini, shot him, and then strung him up for people to spit on him. That was the Italian people that did it. It wasn't a German operation. The Germans were helping hide him. So it wasn't them. It wasn't the Russians. It wasn't the U.S. The Italian people went, fanabla, and took him out. Because they were done with it. Okay? So, more often than not, the people from which suffer under the fascists are the ones to break free. And the people that feel that they were discarded, lied to, and embarrassed, a.k.a. the MAGA, America First, super racist, hate everyone anti-Semites, are going to feel real pissed. And the scary part is those are the ones that are most embedded in our government. It isn't just the simple ones that are like, ew, black people. The institutional racists that want to turn this country into a Christian nation, a white Christian nation, those are the ones that are in the government. Those are the ones that are going to feel the most betrayed.
I never understood, like when younger, you'd hear the term anti-Semitic, and I never really understood what that meant.
Are you going to go there?
Yes, because no, I'm just saying, like I'm just saying honestly. And now it's like, how did Israel do it? How did Israel make it so you can't say anything negative? Like, I'm being called anti-Semitic right now because I'm saying fuck Israel because I'm not down with them committing an entire genocide on unarmed people.
Through this.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how did they do that?
I have a perspective on this that might shed some light.
It's crazy to me. Because they're not an old country. They're like, what, since the 40s?
Yes, 54. 54, 55, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so like
49. Wait, it might be 1949. Somewhere around there. I don't remember.
So 70, 80 years? So and how did they gain so much control, especially over the United States?
Raised in a Jewish and an Italian household. And if anyone out there thinks that sounds strange, it does to me too, even to this day, and I will die on this hill. Especially American Jews and Jews in general, because they were so pushed out of their original homes. And when I say original, whatever, but my point is they had to flee Europe at the time, and they settled everywhere else. The religion and their cultural heritage linked. So Jews everywhere latched onto this symbol of Jewishness, which was Israel and Judaism. So cultural, I wasn't religiously Jewish. My family didn't teach me to believe in the religion, but I was raised with the cultural stuff, like celebrating Hanukkah and other stuff. So it is very difficult, especially for American Jews, to understand how those are not the same thing. And it was kind of never tried to be separated because it became useful. All right. The people in our government in Israel and the Israeli people like Netanyahu who have certain ambitions used it as a way to link it so that you can't criticize us because then you're criticizing Judaism and the Jewish people. The Jewish religion and Jewish people are different things. People from Israel that are Jews are Israeli Jews. They are not just Jews. Just like Americans in this country who are American Jews. You can criticize it. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
But the extremist part of it, the extremist element to both Judaism, which is Zionism, and Christianity, which is Christian nationalism or MAGA Christians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is truly insane how somebody can take something that is supposed to be inspirational and kind of a way to live a guide on how to live your life and be a good person. Because I mean, the Bible, for the most part, teach, the whole, they say love thy neighbor. Like, you know what I mean? Most people go to church and then they try to live their life and be decent people as much as humanly possible in this society. But then there are people that go to church on Sunday, and then no matter how shitty they are, they truly believe they're going to get into heaven just because they believe harder than everybody else. So they could literally commit genocide like Netanyahu or, like Donald Trump and all these right-wing Christian nut jobs, that they could be absolute horrible people, commit the most horrific atrocities while on earth, because they are going to get into heaven because they believe harder than you do. That's
great
crazy.
Answer. Great
it's
aspect
the West's
of it.
Guilty conscience from World War II. It did.
Because guess what? We didn't.
That's
do
a
shit.
great fucking point.
We did not. The United States.
That's a great point.
Contrary to popular belief, did not enter World War II to save anyone's lives. They did it because we went to the Eastern Front. When Japan attacked us and we went there, we knew we needed to choose a side. So we said, we'll go there, we'll go here, we'll work together. We didn't start going into World War II to liberate Jews. Okay, we named Hitler Times Man of the Year while he was putting people in concentration camps in 1939.
Yep. We didn't find out of our troops. There's some stories you can read if you look. There's stories about the actual army troops that found the concentration camp. I believe it was like Easy Company.
Yeah.
And they did it like Steven Spielberg and them did a good thing about it called Band of Brothers.
Yep.
Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks and all them, like amazing series. And but yeah, they just were going on patrols and trying to find the enemy, and all of a sudden they found abandoned camps where people were literally just dying and starving to death, mass graves and gas chambers. And I hate that MAGAs are out there defending like what's going on in our country, as if like overnight the Nazis had concentration camps and then gas chambers the next day. Like, you know what I mean? Like Hitler went into power, concentration camp, gas chamber. Like for some reason they think these things happen immediately. Like this took 2 decades from the time Hitler took power and putting people in camps and rounding people up to the gas chambers. But I feel like we're on an accelerated pace. I don't think it's going to take 2 decades for them to start just offing people or just letting them starve to death.
Well, because at some point, this is what happens. What they did is started deporting whatever people they wanted. When other countries were like, we're not taking any more people, they went, all right, we'll just start killing them. So when El Salvador gets too much international pressure, and when other countries that are taking people we deport succumb to international pressure and stop, the U.S. is going to go, well, we don't want them here. We might as well put them in camps. And then what do? We're not going to feed them. This is not complicated. This is literally history. It's repeating itself so clearly. It's not even complicated.
I think the only variable that's not the only part of history that's not repeating itself is we have a government that supports Israel.
Right. We're part of the axis of evil.
Who has supporters that hate Jews? What? Does that make it make sense? Like when I said that out loud just now, it's like, what the fuck? All right, but we're getting way off topic, man. You mind we go extra 15 minutes today, or
no,
you got shit to do? All right. Let's get back on topic.
To stuff. Okay. All right, so what else do we got? Because we're almost done with that, and then we could just kind of see how crazy everything is. So, now we know where we are. We know that he attacked them. Let's see the history of it. Is Donald Trump a hypocrite? Well, in 2013, I quote Donald Trump, "Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly? Not skilled."
Oops.
Almost. So think about that.
Now is the time for peace.
12 years later,
we
have successfully conducted an attack. Oh, also, I vaguely remember a candidate for president saying that Donald Trump would start a war within 6 months. And I know Donald Trump fought back.
Only been 5 months.
Well, if Kamala wins, only death and destruction await, because she's the candidate of endless wars, and I am the candidate of peace. I am peace. Yep. What a douchebag.
Yeah, we're in such deep shit because now that Iranian parliament has voted to close the Strait of Hormuz.
Yep. So all your gas is going up.
Right, which we get 25%. 25% of the world's oil comes from there.
Now, this is from 2012, a year before that last tweet. Now that Obama's poll numbers are in a tailspin, watch him to launch a strike in Libya or Iran. He is desperate. Everything Donald Trump has ever said out of his mouth that isn't a lie is an admission, because he doesn't actually have any thoughts and he's not intelligent. So he just comes up with schemes and then says the other people will do it first. That's why Jeremy said the other day, and I've been thinking about this in the back of my head, the reason Trump is so adamant that Joe Biden stole the election in 2020 is because he tried to and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So Let's keep going because we know Trump's a hypocrite, but how much of a hypocrite is he? Well,
huge.
Let's go with a question that a reporter had for Donald Trump. Question: your intelligence community says they have no evidence that Iran is building a nuke. Trump: then my intelligence community is wrong. Who said that? Reporter: your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Trump: she's wrong. Why is she wrong? What information does he have that she doesn't have that makes her wrong? Because the way it works is the president's intelligence is based on what his intelligence community brings to him. If he has a secret line to intelligence that's not going through his community, who the hell is that? I think we should, as a people, should know.
Well,
or is he just smart and knows? He just knows everything.
Is basically out of the loop. He's basically just a freaking prop at this point. You know what I mean? We know he's not listening to her.
He only chooses the best people, right? Because the best people. Oh, wait, but he just said she's not the best because she's wrong. But at the time, during the campaign, what did Tulsi Gabbard say while she was vying for a job in his administration? Quote, a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney. And it's a vote for war, more war, likely World War III and nuclear war. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars.
Yeah, you can't make one of your main staples of your campaign the no new wars president, because that's what you called yourself, and got people to vote for you because you had people all over all these MAGA trolls. Well, that was their response all the time. Well, he never started any wars. All right, well, where are you at now, y'all?
Well, so far he said he would end the war in Ukraine on day one.
Yep, did do that.
And he said he would not start any new wars. And here's where people need to understand. They're going to play it's an operation, our Operation Iraqi Freedom, if anyone remembers. So I noticed this, and you're gonna back me up on this. When we went to the Smithsonian and we were walking through the history of American wars, there comes a point where there's a wall right after the Vietnam War and a big sign that says Operation and new military engagements or whatever, implying that after the Vietnam War, the United States never had a war. That's because if you don't say the words, we declare war, then they can get away saying, well, we didn't really declare war. Here's the problem. We know in the Constitution, Section 8, Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. Additionally, a few sentences later, Congress has the sole power to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. So the United States has in its Constitution protections so that a lunatic can't just declare war.
This is an impeachable offense, y'all. This is truly an impeachable offense. Okay?
And I think it's the offense that the Republicans, this is their last chance. If Republicans want to save any face, they can and might impeach him. And if they don't, it's going to be JD Vance calls for the 25th Amendment.
Right, but JD Vance is the plan, y'all. He has been the whole time. We've been saying this from the beginning. They just been waiting for a moment to get Donald Trump out of there, put JD Vance in, which is worse. Absolutely worse.
Here's the thing. This is the problem. When we invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, we knew they couldn't do shit to us. Okay? When Israel attacked Iran, they thought Iran couldn't do shit to them. And guess what?
Wrong.
Israel is getting obliterated. They are being turned into what they did to Palestine. And here's the thing. When we invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, at no point did their leaders go, well, we're going to attack you back. Right? Right? Iranian state TV just aired a chilling graphic titled Within the Fire Range of Iran, showing U.S. bases lit up across the Middle East. Their warning was direct. Mr. Trump, you started it. We will end it.
You know, they are out maneuvering Netanyahu and Donald Trump at this point because
like they're being played.
Yeah, like they maneuvered everything out of place. And not only did they just make a threat to it, because the reason they didn't attack the U.S. base is because they know if they attack U.S. bases, U.S. is going to respond. So instead, they decided to attack Israel. Now they're going to test the allegiance between Donald Trump and the United States and Israel,
which inadvertently tests NATO. who will stick to the law.
Because public opinion is not good for Donald Trump at the moment. I mean, you got some real loonies online defending this, like God bless Donald Trump. Actually, you got this crazy psycho on Fox News suggesting, let me play this video real quick, suggesting he should get a Nobel Peace Prize.
The president was courageous in making this move and making this decision. And as you said, I think we're going to see the fruits of this decision tonight play out for many, many years to come. And if the Nobel Peace Prize were worth anything anymore, I would say the president certainly deserves one.
You know, for what? Starting World War III? Does she not understand? Because somebody send her the definition of the word peace. I don't think she knows what it means. But you don't get a Nobel Peace Prize. Oh my God. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Appreciate it. That's amazing. Thank you so much. You guys are always so supportive. What do we want to get into next? Do we want to start?
Let me just finish up the fun, and then you got some videos, because this is me just being sarcastic at the end here.
Absolutely. We need
all right. So where are the Proud Boys? Where's MAGA? Where are they to sign up to fight? Right?
Yeah, they better be volunteering.
Guys. They're hiding in their mommy's basements, still talking on X about how big their guns are and how tough they are, sunning their assholes and being alpha males, and I don't see a single one of them.
Bro, I saw this dude walking, breathing heavy, looked like he was sweating gravy, talking about, yeah, of course, I heard you liberals talking about MAGA should be the first to go to war. Of course we'll be the first to go to war.
Yeah, okay.
And in between, he's like, I'm like, all right, please. You know what? Maybe this is the solution. Because I honestly think whoever voted for this, y'all should be the first to get drafted. Because you think I'm going to send my son? Fuck no. There's no way my son is going to this war. I don't give a shit. I'll go to prison. I will die on this hill. If you think my children are somehow getting involved in Donald Trump's, the 5-time draft dodgers bullshit, I hope nobody goes to the draft. What are they going to do? Throw all of them in prison?
You know,
for not going? You know, you're honestly better off taking the prison sentence. And I'm a veteran. I was raised in a military family. Most of my life, the first 15 years of my life was in the military. Dude, I'm sorry. This is not a justifiable war in any sense of the imagination. My dad went to war for Vietnam, and then he also went to war after Iraq invaded Kuwait. Okay? He supposedly was, defending the freedom of other people and protecting the United States. That's the illusion. But there's no way to justify this. This is just grown-ass babies with too much power playing God with our lives. We have never been more unsafe in the United States right now. I talked yesterday about what is now I'm going to forget the term, a false flag operation. That is what worries me the absolute most.
A lot of people
are
starting to realize if they've been planning this for months, then that attack on the Israelis, the music festival that started all this.
I said it yesterday. I said it on the show yesterday when I was talking. I'm not even convinced that November 7th, 2023 was not a false flag operation.
We're not saying that is the truth. We're saying that we feel suspicious about the narrative that was given. And all we know is that as of right now, we're facing a precipice and we don't have any information on what really actually happened.
Right. We don't, because if it was literally that type of operation, we would never know. You know what I mean? This is something, and Israel's obviously shown they're pretty competent when it comes to infiltrating governments. I mean, obviously the video showed that.
So here's a couple more, and then I want to hand it off. Let's just say, I think it's important for people to understand that Donald Trump has not just no respect for our country, our military, our people, or anything. The guy has no self-respect for himself because he bows down or salutes dictatorial military leaders and dictators. And yes, Netanyahu, in my opinion, is a dictator because when you listen to some Israelis, some are cool with it, and a lot of others are not. My point being, Donald Trump is a weak, pathetic coward that will bow down to anyone that has more flashy jewelry on than he does.
Yep.
And here's why we're doomed. Okay, because JD Vance, who basically the night of the attack said Donald Trump should not do this because he's stockpiling tweets for when he does the 25th Amendment. This is Vance saying, I empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents.
Of course. Of course.
We have the dumbest human that's ever congealed on the corner of a, I don't know, gym floor. Okay.
Oh,
but
man.
Now it's coming out, and I told you earlier what the New York Times is reporting. Trump's bombing of Iran has reportedly failed to destroy the Fordo nuclear facility, despite Trump claiming last night that it was completely obliterated.
Oops.
What we're at now is Jeremy and I have been talking about this. I know James on Mondays talks about this all the time, that we are at a point now where even the Democrats are no longer a viable alternative. But I'm getting worried about progressives because we need people screaming all the time about what's going on, and we need calls for change, which, by the way, amounts to regime change in the U.S. because right now we don't have a president and a government. We have a regime, okay? And the only person so far with any balls to say anything, AOC.
Yep.
All right. The president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is a grave violation of the Constitution and congressional war powers. He has impulsively risked launching a war that may ensnare us for generations. It is absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment.
Yep. And now that they've closed the Strait of Hormuz, I hope you guys
Trade's
enjoy
done.
paying. I hope you guys, there's no trade talks at this point.
So we have tariffs everywhere. There's no roots anymore.
Yeah, China's cut us off from rare earth elements or rare earth metals. I mean, we're screwed again. No, I know. Is this great? Is how I'm confused? I'm so confused. But anyway, all right. So I do have some videos though we could talk about.
Let's do
this is the video right here that I think has everybody worried. I have a couple of videos of Netanyahu, Pete Hegseth, and JD Vance. So let's get into those. But this is why people right here are worried about a false flag operation, from what Netanyahu said on television.
It's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want. They chant death to America. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
He said Trump.
John Carl joins me.
Yeah. He said Trump.
He did say Trump. Oh, by the way, let's just show this real quick because this is good. Bloop.
Oh,
this is
they're trolling the shit out of us.
If you're on Twitter, you got to follow this account at Daily Iran News because they are trolling the shit out of Trump. This one's great. Never forget this was a staged event and they tried to blame it on Iran.
Here's another thing people need to understand. Donald Trump just recently basically dismantled the anti-terror network, and he put a 12-year-old goofball weirdo in charge of it.
Right?
So now we have intelligence networks based on our terror network intelligence that we can't trust anymore. National security advisors we can't trust anymore. Guess what's going to happen while all eyes are on the Middle East? And then they're going to blame the open borders. See, this is where it's going to be fun for Trump, because Trump's going to have to explain 6 months in why, when they do launch terrorist attacks from within the U.S. on U.S. soil as retaliation, where'd they come from? Did they get here when Biden let them in, or did they get here in the last 6 months to a year that Donald Trump didn't do anything to close those borders? Because while he was too busy sending brown people out, other brown people were getting in.
No, now what they're doing is they're going with the Iranian sleeper cells are getting activated. That's what they're going with. There's going to be an attack on United States soil. They're going to blame it on Iran or somebody in the Middle East, and then it's over. Because then Donald Trump truly can. Because this is, how do you think Netanyahu stayed in power? How do you think Netanyahu stayed in power?
Hey, Brina, if you could facilitate that,
Gaza, right? You know what I mean? I would love to have all three of them on here. I have a low-key crush on Jasmine Crockett. I'm not going to lie.
It's not low-key, dude. It's not low-key.
No, it's obvious. I just like to play it cool a little bit, but
What up? Hey,
I know, I'm stuck.
Finger guns. I know I said something really bad. I apologize. I'm not going to go back to that.
Oh God! All right. So anyway, we're good. You're all right. Let's play some of the videos because this was not something that they planned overnight. So just so you America first people know, it was never about America. It was always about Israel. Always.
Seems to be our foreign policy has been all about Israel for 50 years.
Right. Democrats too. Okay, this has nothing to do with Republicans.
Centrist Democrats are really showing their ass right now because they're like, well, I mean, Israel.
That's why they're so quiet. That's why they're so quiet. Look how much. Just look up AIPAC and how much influence AIPAC has over both Republican and Democratic members.
Do you have the video of when Bernie was literally talking and he heard that we attacked them and he was just like, ugh.
Yeah. He read the post out loud. I'm like, I was on live stream yesterday when I found out. We're in like the last 10 minutes, and then somebody posted. I think it was Brina. She was like, "Yeah, he bombed." I'm like, "Son of a bitch!" I'm like, "You're kidding me." But here's Pete Hegseth just pretty much spilling the beans that this has been the plan the whole time.
This is a plan that took months and weeks of positioning and preparation so that we could be ready when the President of the United States called. It took a great deal of precision. It involved misdirection and the highest of operational security. Our B-2s went in and out of downtown Tehran, these nuclear sites, in and out and back without the world knowing at all. In that way, it was historic. A strike that included the longest B-2 Spirit bomber mission since 2001 and the first operational employment of the massive.
Why is he saying this like this is supposed to be impressive? I give a shit about it. You're telling me in advance,
and they didn't know it was coming. They moved everything out of those locations. And you guys didn't even damage the actual facility. And they're out here telling the American people, misdirection. We just Shazam.
Oh my God! We have a Fox News host directing our most advanced technology. By the way, you know what's scaring the shit out of me? Have you seen all this talk that people have, especially from like combat active duty veterans and people that know things, and they're like, we don't know what those missiles are that Iran is firing. We've never seen them do that before.
Yeah, they're hypersonic missiles. Allegedly, they have a missile that goes Mach 10. 10 times the speed of sound. I believe that's what Mach means, right?
Yvonne, that's a good catch.
It took months and weeks. Yeah, he actually... The absolute stupidity with this administration.
Oh my God, there is not a single person in our government right now that has an IQ higher than Donald Trump's shoe size.
Oh my God, man, we are so cooked. This is so dangerous. But here, all right, so here, I believe is one of the reasons Donald Trump went through with this strike, and Netanyahu's the problem. Netanyahu is the problem. He is not our friend. He is not our ally. He is manipulating Donald Trump because he knows it's easy. Netanyahu is not stupid.
No,
he's not stupid. He's extremely smart. Look what he's managed to do to our government. Just that takes intelligence. But here you go. This is why I think Donald Trump was trying to be a big man and show Iran who he was.
I want to talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Yep, white guys from Iran.
Through their intel, yes, they want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with him in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He made it very clear, including now, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, which means you cannot.
Okay, they didn't have a nuclear weapon.
I'm going to give you a quick.
He's so easy manipulated, man. How did Okay, so what? Iran found these two white guys, Republicans, that voted for Donald Trump and convinced them somehow to try and kill him? This doesn't even make any sense, but that's what they're telling the American public on Fox News with Brett Baer and his really, really tight face. Shit creeps me out. He's like,
listen to this. I have hashtag Israel in Twitter just to see what chatter is.
Yeah.
Here's from an account where the name is Jimmy Carter. It's from at Carter Center 1. I assume it's not, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to read.
There's a lot of
Patriots are in control. American flag eagle, American flag eagle. Bullet points. An American Pope. The Ayatollah is crippled. No, Iran's actually doing good. Russia is crippled. That's true. Has nothing to do with us. China is dependent on us.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing ever happens. Bros are shaking. Don't know.
Delusional, man.
Christianity is on the rise. American flag eagle, blah, blah, blah. Hashtag Iran, hashtag Israel, hashtag Israel-Iran conflict. Well, that's obviously a bot account, but like this is what is stirring up the bro culture that doesn't know what the hell is going on.
But see, that's what we have a lot of people in America, especially on Facebook, that do not understand how bots work. A lot of your comments that you see are not real people. They are not real people. Okay, they're most likely bots, and it's easy to tell if it's a MAGA bot or not because MAGA bots speak in perfect English. An actual MAGA can't spell to save their goddamn lives.
Now here's a good tweet. I'll tell you one of the hashtags. Hashtag Trump is a war criminal. Dude, you dropped a few bombs. Don't make more out of it than it is. Bush and Obama dropped way more bombs than your sorry ass. You're nothing more than a Netanyahu puppet.
Yep. So the 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb failed to accomplish its mission. That should be the headline. Trump failed to accomplish his mission. Because they didn't. They didn't. The other nuclear sites, but they were focused on Fordo. That was the one site that they had constantly mentioned, and that was their objective, and they failed. Donald Trump is a failure who just started World War III, and his gas prices on July 4th are going to be $8 to $10 a fucking gallon. Thank you, MAGA. We appreciate this because this is all your fault. You voted for this, okay? I don't care that I didn't vote for this. Yeah, this is the consequence of your actions. Huh?
Eggs and drag queens.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they were so mad about trans people, egg prices, and drag queens that now we have World War III. Genius, guys. Just top-notch thinking. I'm so glad critical thinking doesn't exist in America.
Real critical thinking there.
I know, right? All right, so let's. I'm not going to play the video where Donald Trump literally thanks God. I'm serious. The president of the United States with the VP and Marco Rubio. Little Marco standing behind him. I refuse. I'm not going to play that video. I don't even want to talk about that video. Thanking God. The sexual abuser, alleged PDF file, and convicted criminal who stole our nation's secrets and is currently lining his pockets with billions of dollars, thanked God in front of the entire world and a country and a secular nation. Okay, we have a problem. 9-alarm fire problem. I don't know how many alarms you can add to that, but whatever. It's serious. Okay, but just to show you they have no clue what you're doing.
Doesn't matter. No one will listen to them. No one listens to the alarms.
This is a video of JD Vance trying to nuance this into something that it's not. Okay, this is a declaration of war, whether the United States will admit it or not. But here he's trying to say that we didn't attack. I'm serious. They're saying we didn't attack Iran. We attacked Iran's nuclear facilities. We didn't attack civilian targets. Okay, great. But how do you nuance
still attack the country?
An unprovoked attack? It wasn't like they bombed one of our ships and you're like, all right, I'm going to show you who's boss. No. We did this all for Israel. We put 300 and some odd million people's lives are in danger now. because our government is doing all of this for fucking Israel. That is crazy. But let me play this video.
What we're prepared for is if they attack us in a maximal direction, first of all, we have got maximum defensive posture. I think that we're going to be able to defend as many of our people as possible. And of course, I'd encourage Americans to pray for our guys in the Middle East because, yes, they are under a significant amount of duress and a significant amount of threat right now. But then, of course, John, if the Iranians attack us, they're going to be met with overwhelming force. And I don't think the president could be clear about this. If you look at what we did yesterday, John, we did not attack the nation of Iran. We did not attack any civilian targets. We didn't even attack military targets outside of the 3 nuclear weapons facilities that we thought were important to accomplish our goal of preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. So how Iran responds, I think, is ultimately the ball is in their court. But if you look at what we did, it was very precise, very narrowly tailored to our objective. And if the Iranians decide to expand this, then that's ultimately their decision, and the President of the United States will respond in kind.
Oh, yeah.
This is why language is important. This is why people who give a shit it's critical that they are in these positions. What JD Vance just did, now they wouldn't agree to this, and if it happens, they'll pretend it's not the same. But what they just did is say, if Iran attacks one of our military bases in South Carolina, then they didn't declare war on us. They were just attacking a military target.
Right. Yes, that's okay.
See how that works? If the way logic works is it's clean one way and the other most of the time. It's got to make sense all around. Otherwise, it's just bullshit.
But now they're putting the blame on Iran. Like, if they retaliate, they're the bad guys. What?
That is an incredibly accurate statement right there.
Yeah.
The press has failed us. We don't have a press corps anymore.
No, we don't.
We don't.
There are few reporters left with any kind of journalistic integrity left. Most have succumbed to Donald Trump's, I don't know what it is. I don't get it. The guy's a moron. But all right, so one last video, we can get out of here. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to support our work, you can do so through the live. And you can also do so. Jeez, I'm having trouble talking. Dude. You can do so through our GoFundMe, which is in our link tree, the top link in the link tree. We are trying to do some big things. We just don't have the funding yet to do it. So if you guys would like to be part of that, we would greatly appreciate it. Plus, I'm pretty sure I'm planning some kind of live stream for the 4th of July. I can almost guarantee it. I guarantee it's going to be massive now. After this, it's going to be huge.
You know what? I want to talk about that a little.
And I'm going to be out there in the streets. So
maybe on Tuesday, I want to talk about that a little because I have mixed feelings about it being on July 4th for logistical reasons. Like, I think it's a great idea, but also might backfire in a little bit. But we'll talk about that. I want to talk about that too.
Right. It's going to be chaos no matter what. But I'll be out in the streets live streaming it all. So yeah, if you guys want to help support that, man, we would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to fight this fight the best way we know how, and we are out.
Free press is the key to democracy.
Right, we're trying to be part of the independent media that is out in the streets, giving you the facts, giving you real life shit that's going on, and we like to think that we break it down differently than most channels do. Yeah, we don't like to hold back. We will risk not getting ad revenue on YouTube to speak our minds freely on this show. That's the type of show we are. So anyway, last video. I just want to show this. This is I really don't like this guy. This is Netanyahu gaslighting America, telling us how awesome the amazing Donald Trump is, man. This is truly dystopian at this point.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do.
All right, it's disgusting, isn't it?
That President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime, the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say peace through strength. First comes strength.
Ooh. I caught something there. He said, we say peace through strength.
Gee.
Oh my God. That's where Donald Trump got it from. We say peace through strength. When does this become we?
Yeah, he doesn't know that.
Netanyahu just volunteered us for this shit. So all your sons and daughters, man, I'm telling you, I hope to God there's not an actual draft because they are being served steak and lobster.
Let me tell you, if there's a draft, that won't go the way they think it will.
Yeah. Look online. Steak and lobster dinners are going out like crazy amongst military personnel. And we're going to fail if we go to war. We are going to fail epically because we have the most incompetent leadership structure in United States history, probably.
The soldiers will do their best. The sailors
they don't have
will do
the
their best. The pilots will do their best. Everyone will do their best. But when you are guided into war by morons who do not respect your sacrifice, your oath, or your life, there's nothing for us to win. We could only lose. There's nothing at stake except losing.
Right.
There's no reason we're doing this.
That's another thing people don't understand. When you don't have qualified, you have to have almost overqualified. I mean, training is intense in the military throughout your career. There's recurring training all the time to keep up with everything. But what they don't understand is without all these proper personnel in place, because military is not all war fighters. Okay. It's like 60, 70% logistics.
Got to feed them, got to fix the shit, and got to get them there.
Right.
Food maintenance, transport.
Right. And when you go to a war, and if you ever read like The Art of War, like the only way to really win a war is you go to another country and then use their resources to continue your war. But we have failed to do that every time we've gone to war. That's why we keep losing. And plus we have complete morons in charge now. This is going to get messy. And we are more unsafe as a nation than we've ever been.
We're
like
totally
pre-9/11, pre-Pearl Harbor. We are so
You know how I know we're wrong? Because MAGA has like 100 to 250 million supporters, right? They're the most supported movement. And so all of them can just sign up once the draft happens and we'll have the biggest military in the history of the universe.
Yeah.
And then we'll use the Jewish space laser because now we have control over it because Netanyahu will let us use it. Why doesn't he just use that to destroy Iranian's fleet?
That's
weird. I wonder why.
Yeah, that must be a Netanyahu thing. I don't get it. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I know it's getting pretty intense. We're trying to keep it as light as possible, but honestly, these topics are
getting a little
shitty. A lot of things are being shown to the American public that they should have kept behind the scenes. The true allegiance, it never was America first, y'all.
They're showing their whole
now.
Pay attention.
It's been Israel first this whole time. Okay. Donald Trump is the most easily manipulated president in United States history and the most incompetent. And he's quite literally rated the worst president in U.S. history. But he has created a cult of people with undying loyalty. Okay. Now keep in mind though, online, a lot of Trump supporters, especially on Twitter and Facebook, are they can be easily be bots. Okay, so he has a lot more online support than he does in real life. I think his parade was a perfect example of that. So I think he fucked up. I think he fucked up and overplayed his hand, and this is going to bite all of us in the ass.
He's proving he doesn't need MAGA anymore because he's not catering to them as a group.
He's proving he doesn't care. Right, he's proving he doesn't care. He just broke their big, they've been on this white nationalist shit. They've been on this America First because that's like a KKK thing. You know what I mean? So they've been on this America First trip and only America only. And like Stephen Miller's come out and said, like, if it was up to me, only 100 million people would live in the United States. He's talking about all white people. You know what I'm saying? And now Donald Trump's out here attacking another country for Israel. They're not going to be happy. So there's going to be a lot of backlash from within MAGA. I'm telling you, they're going to fall apart over this. They're twisting yourself to justify it. Yeah, we're going to report on it all. So love you guys. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for all your contributions. Again, if you want to donate, check out the link tree. It's in our channel page and in the description of this video, depending on what. Oh, Brina, yeah, on Twitch, it's just at Sergeant Nobody 77. It's my thing. I don't really know how it works. I just stream on it. You know what I'm saying? I got to start learning this stuff. It's too many platforms for this old man.
Too many.
So All right, guys. Love you all. We'll be back on tomorrow with James for another episode of the Derp State at 9 p.m. And then Mike and I'll be back on Tuesday and probably just more updates regarding this. We're not going to really plan this one out. We're just going to
like right now, like it's no
news
joke.
is going to move very fast over the next.
And here's the thing: the sad part is, yeah, this is a distraction in many ways to everything else that's going on, like the political assassination we experienced, like the big beautiful bill, all of that crap. But we can't not talk about it because it is all of us at stake. So we'll see what happens Tuesday.
Yeah. So hug your loved ones. Yeah, it's going to be a bumpy ride, but we will be out in the streets. I think Donald Trump's going to be, he's scared about No King's Day, but I think he just really messed up and he's going to put tens of millions of people, like 20, 30, 40 million people in the streets on one of these days, hopefully soon.
I think so.
I'm guessing July 4th, but who knows? We'll keep you posted. Thank you all for your support. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.